Hello, everyone. Welcome to Amazing Scale Modelers Across the Pond Hangout. I'm your host, Scratch and Jack. Today I thought I'd try something new, stay in the dark, so to speak. Amazing Scale Modelers is a Google Plus community and Facebook community, Google Plus, Facebook, scale modelers, reaching across all scale modeling genres, mediums, and to encourage friendships from around the world. And today we hope you find it to be an important source of information about the hobby, hear about something new, and see firsthand what the scale modeling experience could do, such as making gray hair if you have some. And joining me today are the usual suspects to help me kill time in doing these things. And if you want to join us on the live chat, live chat is open on the Amazing Scale Modelers YouTube channel. So bring your questions, comments. All are welcome today. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and make suggestions for the community and for the Hangouts. I'd like to just start out with a couple of notations here. Eric, you know who you are. I hope you get well soon. The office has been very much thinking about you. Wade Watson, I figured out how to download images from Google Plus, but not all images are available like that. Maybe later I will show you what I found out if you are watching live or in rerun. But I figured it out, Wade. Thanks for the suggestions. And keep posting your community builds. That would be your Batman build, your Street Muscle and Custom Car build, your Stunt and Speed build, and Star Wars. In fact, we're going to do, for your car builders, I'm really sorry, we're going to talk a little bit about Star Wars today because they are community covers, both on the Google Plus page and the Facebook page. And yeah, well, I'll be showing them as well as other community builds as well. Tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit about making simple electronics to make LEDs blink. And you'll be surprised how easy it is or how complicated it is, depending on your perspective, just to make a little light blink on and off. We'll talk more about that tomorrow because we didn't get a chance to do that the last time. And also, next in a couple of weeks, we're going to have the Across the Pond and Sunday Hangout as normal. That will be the 16th and 17th of December. That will be our last broadcast for the year. So we're going to talk about what we want for Christmas and also the build of the past that haunts us or that we fondly remember, and how little vignette stories about how we came to the modeling hobby. And be sure to wear your ugly sweaters for that. And without further ado, we're going to start with, how you doing, Bob?
Good morning.
Well, you threw him off.
Here too.
Always high energy there, Bob.
Pay your electric bill.
I was typing on the chat. I was typing on the chat, so I kind of squat since the last time we talked. Go to work and sleep.
Honest man. Yes, furniture movers.
Furniture movers.
Oh, you found them in black?
No, I painted them. Painted it. It's purple.
Oh, okay.
And this one I got just didn't.
Silver.
Silver. Yeah, that's it. Work to sleep. That's it. That time of year. That's all I got.
You gotta be kidding me.
You painted two movers.
No.
Okay, I'm not even ready to.
That large company in Arkansas that I work for. This time of year.
I'm not even ready for. Okay.
How do you like it, Jack? When it's thrown back at you?
That's it. Just those furniture movers.
So, well, I can't show the one It's off Gridville.
Oh, your Christmas present, yeah.
So after it's out the door.
Oh,
So yeah, that's all I got.
all right. All right. Continuing on, we're going to skip over Dave. We're going to talk to him specifically about some stuff. I need a word with him. Anyway, it's going to be best for last, but we're going to go with Jim. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing fine there, Jack. Yeah, most of this week, I mean, was last week with the 4 hour. I actually got quite a bit done. I actually got more done on my Arcadia than what I thought I was going to get done.
That's looking good.
It's coming along.
Oh,
as well as a lot of casting work.
Yeah, I missed your casting because I missed the hangout. How'd it turn out?
Well, just give me a sec here.
Okay, I got to know.
All right.
He doesn't show up for that 48-hour hangout, and he's impatient. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a personality quirk.
You, what did you do to Lou?
Okay. Back to casting mode here. All right, so this was the casting for the back plate.
Mm-hmm.
This actually was still making the mold, and that there's still, you see the plastic in for a plug and toothpicks for vent holes. So that's after it's dried, pulled out. First opening. Then put the bottom on it. That is still making the. This is when it comes out of the frame.
Right.
So I found one advantage of using the bricks. It marks, especially if you fill your rubber up to the level of bricks, it gives you a level where the cut line is, where the seam is going to be. Because sometimes the seam, if it wasn't for those, the actual seam is almost invisible.
Right.
So
there.
And that's what resulted with the mold.
I see some bubbles. Were you happy with that?
The bubbles are fine because where they are, you're not going to see them.
Okay.
So now we're getting ready for casting. Now, because the bottom of it was fairly thin, I put a piece of foam board underneath it just to hold it square so it wouldn't depress or something like that. And I put it on some bricks for a bed and a couple of elastics to hold it together.
I swear it looks like a scale model of ice bricks.
Yeah.
like Santa should be pulling a sleigh of those or something.
Yeah. But again, do the same thing.
Get your
measure off for volume and mark my cups for where my A and B goes to. And pour in and work the mold. Like you have to burp the mold in order to get all the bubbles.
Any trapped air out of it.
Yeah. And that's where you see the air holes really come to their value because you'll see the bubbles come up out of them when you're working it. That's when you know too you've got resin into those tight spots.
How much working time do you have before
You've got about an hour.
Oh, okay.
You got about 45 minutes to an hour of working time before you're committed. But it really doesn't take that long. This is starting of making the second rubber mold. These are for the end caps for the engines.
For some reason I thought you were going to put all those in the same mold, but
it's not enough. You couldn't really do it all in the same mold.
Yeah.
These are being done as a straight plug mold, so it's not a 2-part mold. It's just a 1-part mold.
Oh, that's right. Because the bottom of it doesn't need to.
Yeah, bottom I don't care. It's going to be inside the model, so it doesn't care. They're just stood off at the bottom with some plasticine. And this is what my back piece looks like. It actually came out quite well. There's a little bit of flash, but not too much.
Yeah,
I was surprised I picked up all the detail.
you got some cleanup at the top there.
Yeah, that's what I said. I got a little bit of flash up at the top.
Yeah, it's really nice, that, James.
And so long as the bubbles aren't where the clear parts show through, you're still fine.
That's right. I had one bubble to fill, and that's this one here, which a little bit of putty and a toothpick and filled it up. It's not in where it's up outside of the window here.
Right.
So it's being painted over. So I had one bubble to fill, which is not bad. This is that one for the for the engine end caps. The rubber's poured. That's the plug mold pulled out. Then I just had to dig out the plasticine and then release the mold from the original pieces and pull them out.
There you go.
And this was what my result was after I cast the two end caps. For some odd reason, the tips.
Almost like there's a bubble formed down in the tips or something.
Yeah. Both identical, though. Both tips are identical. I'm going to leave it because if I orient them in exactly the same way, you wouldn't know the difference whether it's supposed to be round or a little bit flat top.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll make it work for me. I think that's.
Well, I got some suggestions on that, but I don't know if this is the right time to do it. But well, why not? I'll just do it. I have been playing around with the molds too.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of generations of molds even now. But I found that when casting, two things. You want to be sure that there's nothing in the tip itself in your the plastic that, I mean, it is you made a casting of those black cones, correct?
Yep.
And I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention. What does the mold look like? I mean, is it like two? Oh, is it like that?
It's just
straight down.
It's a one piece.
It's a one piece.
Yeah.
Okay. I think if you got a piece of wire, like a thin piece of wire, once you've poured the resin in, stick it down in there, all the way down the bottom, and swish it around a little bit to make the bubble let go of any of the sides or any of the, like anywhere one might be sticking to the sides.
Yeah.
And then once the bubble is inside the resin, then it has an opportunity to rise to the top.
Yeah.
So if it's sticking to the side of the mold, nothing. The only way it's going to get out of there is in a vacuum chamber.
Yeah.
But if you get a thin piece of wire and kind of like swish it around after you've poured it, that might work.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. But I mean, like, this is only the second mold I've ever made, so I mean,
darn good results for the second go around.
So it's basically I've gone through, made two types of mold. I've made a one-piece plug mold and a two-piece mold. So I'm really fairly happy with the results. You know.
Now, how long did it take the clear stuff to cure before you took it out of the mold?
The cure, the clear stuff has to be in for 72 hours.
That's what I was thinking. It's not.
Yeah, clear takes a long time.
Yeah, it was 72 hours to cure. Actually, they were in there for 4 days before I pulled them out of the mold. So they were nice and solid.
Yeah.
So That's where that part was. And, you know, and then I just want to show you something before I go on to the next part. Is I did get it painted.
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
So that's the back wall
Uh-huh.
is painted, minus the filigree, but the main part of it's painted,
Right.
primed and painted. And it's the first time I've used a liquid mask too, and that worked out quite well for this.
Mm-hmm.
So
We were talking about whether or not we were worried whether or not that plate would cure flat and not curl or anything. Did you have any problems with that?
well, it's a little softer because it's thin, but it's not bad. I made sure it was laying flat when I pulled it out, and let it sit. Make sure it was flat, and it's come out perfectly flat.
Good.
Perfectly fine. It was a little softer when I come out of the mold, but I've made sure it kept it flat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this week, rather than the straight model build, still on the same project, but I have been working on the electronics part for this project and shopping. So I have these nice little utility boxes for putting all my parts in when I'm working on a project. I've been shopping for my LEDs and my resistors for the lighting in the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that'll be fun to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah.
So save something for those folks for tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, my next part.
I'm sure Bob will have a whole bunch done by tomorrow.
Okay, I have a project I'm working on right now for the oops, wrong window. Screen share. Boom. What I'm working on is, because I want the model in the shadow box to be able to see the front and the back of it, I'm going to have the model able to rotate 90 degrees in the display. So I've got to put a servo in it. And so I've been working on, I found this little control circuit for a manual servo driver.
Servo driver circuit.
Huh? Pardon?
Oh, interesting.
That's a servo driver.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like
that'd be my next endeavor is controlling servos. Yeah.
Yeah. And the modification they had on this, which oops, not that one, this way, was this modification. Build two circuits and using a relay to switch it, and that what gives you two positions. So now you can fine tune an A and B position.
And just switch between the two of them.
Yeah. So the servo will be of an A position and a B position.
Okay.
And I'm doing this a little different because I'm putting I could fire the relay with just a switch, but I want proper debouncing and not faulting, so I'm putting a flip-flop in front to drive the relay.
Yeah, you just spoke Klingon.
I think I've been nicking that off you, James. It'll do for Void.
It's a switched gate. Basically, it's a switched gate that goes before the relay, and then it goes to a push button. So I'll have a push button on the side of place, and it'll just switch it between the two states.
I thought it was something you wore in your feet. Oh.
Yeah, it's two different types of flip-flops. There's JK and Ds. So D-type and JKs. So that's the other thing I've been working on this week, and the collection of all the I was out yesterday and collected all of my parts I needed, including some circuit boards. So I have all my capacitors, resistors, and everything, and my pots. Now I bought 2 sets of pots. I got 2 types here. I got your standard turn pot to put in there. Okay. Circuit board type turn pot, trim pot. But I also got a 10 turn pot, which is when it has a little screw on the top. And it's 10 turns from full to zero resistance, so for the wiper. So it gives you a little finer control. So I haven't decided which one I'll try. I'll try them both in the breadboard circuit to find out which one is the most practical. And I got pins for plugging the servo in. And I have 1 servo kit.
Alrighty then.
So this servo is rated up to yeah, it's up to 1 kilogram. It'll pull, so yeah, it's got more than enough torque to turn that model around. Youch. As I drop stuff here. Anyhow, so that's mostly what I've been working on this week.
Okay. Alrighty. Somebody's got a flip-flop there. Hi. So tomorrow we're going to talk more about specifics. Lou said you just spoke Klingon to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tomorrow we'll talk about specific components and what they do and all kinds of stuff. Jim was in electronics actually. You took care of radio towers.
Yeah,
right?
I was a field service engineer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is actually very simple stuff. It really is. I mean, if you have nothing and you think you're being talking to in Klingon, like Lou said, tomorrow we'll talk specifically about the different components that you use, and there's not that many really to control stuff and to make them work. And it's really not that difficult, and you can do a lot of experimentation. Well, anyway, with that being said, I'd like to do a screen share here to kill 2 birds with 1 stone on this screen share. And this is Wade. He said he gave me a suggestion how to do a download from Google Plus. Oh, heck, where did it go? He told me how I could do a download, and this is an example of clicking onto the image and bringing this up. And by the way, this is Don Gilchrist's desk. It's a bit of a Star Wars theme right now, but he has to have the most eclectic workbench. During the 48-hour hangout, we brought up a few images and we sat there for a half an hour staring at it, looking for Waldo. It was hilarious. It is the most eclectic. He posts on Google Plus. So this is Google Plus, of course. And right up here in this corner would be sort of like a arrow pointing down to a line, a horizontal line. And of course, that means download. And I can click onto this. It will download this image to my download file on my computer. And all I got to do is move the file from my computer to where I want it. But when it comes to Don's pictures, this is so unfortunate because I'd like to share some of these images of his workbench on the end of your video because his workbench is just so much fun to watch. And there was this one image that we were counting the Despicable Me's. he had like a dozen of them in that one frame.
3 in that picture.
Yes. It's funny. We're looking at the background and not what he's building.
Yeah.
He has
all his minions.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the great deception. That the magician always misdirects you away from what he's doing. Yeah.
Oh, well, and it's always different. Every time he posts, it's always different. But if he takes the picture at a lower angle, the tricycle right here up at the top middle was the center of one of his photos.
Mm-hmm.
That was a photo we saw. We got a pretty good view of his workbench.
Now we got a terror fish on there.
Yeah, see that. Only need a stingray.
Yeah.
So that's how you download pictures from Google Plus. You have this little icon here, but for Don, I don't know. It doesn't appear for him. So,
Jack, if you look on those 3 dots, if you click on those 3 dots on the side of the image,
report abuse.
Oh, that's all you got.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think you could report this as abuse.
No, I was just going because I've seen some of those. You clicked on the 3 dots and you got a save version, a save icon to save the picture. Okay. All right, that answers that question.
Anyway, so if you're on a Google Plus page, look out for him. He posts a lot, and he's. It's just so fun. I mean, I think it would be actually kind of fun if you do substance abuse. Just look at his pictures. And if you're sniffing glue, absolutely take a look at his pictures. He's so fun. His workbench is so fun. So in the 48-hour hangout, we spent a portion of it staring at these pictures. And incidentally, the 48-hour hangout last week was a wonderful success, I thought. I mean, there was I listed all the people that did show up, and there were 4 people that showed up that never been on a 48-hour hangout. And I posted that we did have a lot of fun, but it was, you know what? I think everyone, modelers are starting to learn how to count. It was 48 hours and 45 minutes. So we are just about there. I stayed on. I had breakfast. I came back, and Jim had already left. And who was I with? I think I might have been, I can't remember. I really can't. I think it might have been Tony or someone. And no, Tony left earlier because Tony's in California, and 8 a.m. here Sunday morning was something like 5 a.m. Sunday morning for him. But anyway, it was a lot of fun to stay up as much as we could for 48 hours and do some work. Like even Randall will tell you, he's got a lot of work done, and we chatted about just about anything. So if you missed it, sorry. We're going to have it next year, of course, during the Black Friday day after American Thanksgiving, and you can stop in, stay the whole time, or just stop in for a few minutes and just say hello and show us what you're working on, and just keeping us awake. I think that would be what will be helpful. Yeah. So moving on forward, we have Jamie had just popped in.
Hello, everyone.
And Jamie.
All right, Jack. Had a bit of a mishap with my model, but it's not non-repairable. Somebody sent me something to trial. It was a spray that apparently hides the decals better on your model, so it makes it look more like it's been painted on. So I decided to trial it out, and I put it on, and came back the next morning because you have to leave it overnight, not touch it at all. I came back after overnight, and it just totally bubbled the top of the paintwork. So you know that effect you get when you mix something on something else and it all just bubbles up. And
is your ship painted with acrylic?
Yeah.
And is that spray a lacquer?
No, it wasn't actually. I'm not quite sure what it was. It was just something new somebody sent me. They wanted me to try it, see what it was like. I said, well, okay, I'll give it a go.
Do you have it there?
No, I don't. I actually he only sent me a small little can, and I binned it because it
Unmarked.
It
was a small unmarked can.
Yeah, it was a trial thing that somebody wanted me to try out. Well,
yeah, they didn't want to try it on their own. That's why.
Yeah, what I should have done was tried it on a piece of rough plastic.
I guess the guy that supplied it to you is on your hit list now.
Yeah, they're on my hit list.
Beware Romulans bearing gifts.
So what I've been doing, if you can see,
it's cloaked.
Yeah, it's cloaked. I've been basically
keeping it warm.
Been sanding this down and recoating it with the paint, and yeah, so it's kind of like.
After all that good work putting the decals on in the first place.
Yeah, it's a good job. I didn't get it on like these.
Yeah.
Or any of this work. It was just basically this area. So the NCC and all that, and all this paintwork on top of that bubble. You can't see anything in there, so it's all like masked up. I'm working on it. So what I'm doing at the moment is just I recently took all this top layer off, and I've been, spraying a coat, sanding, spraying a coat, sanding, and I'm virtually back at the stage now where I've had to take this off and strip this off because the paint around that bubbled. You with me? Mm. So it's basically it's a repairable repair. It's going to look fine when it's finished. It just means more hours, more work, and I didn't need to go there and do that, if you know what I mean. But apart from that, the actual whole, the rest of the ship's okay. It's fine.
That's sort of an object lesson in testing and something that you don't want to real.
Yeah, don't trial stuff on models that are virtually completely done.
Yeah.
Do a test piece.
On a mule.
Yeah.
The only thing I've got to try and do, I've got to try and hunt around now for a new set of decals, because obviously I've lost the NCC Enterprise and all that, so that's going to be a momentous task if I can locate a set of them.
A customer for your masks there, Lou?
Yeah, I would paint those on anyway. I wouldn't use decals.
Have you got? Do you do a set for that?
Decals.
Do you do a set for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
For the markings and for the windows.
Yeah, for all of it, really.
Yeah.
No, do you just do the ones for the source, or does it come as a complete package?
It comes as a complete package, but I could be persuaded to send you just the front part. It's just a matter of international postage.
Yeah, it's all I need. Basically, the lettering and the markings for the top.
You just need the saucer stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and stuff that goes underneath the two markings there. I just basically need the source stuff. I don't need the rest of the ship. The rest of the ship's fine. But I can talk to you that after the hangout, Lou.
Yeah, PM me your address and all that, and I can get you out of set.
Okay. I'll put it up in the readout thing. I'll just put me.
Oh, you're going to make me work. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me get something to write this down.
Okay, I'll just put my email there. And then you got it.
Notes. I need a notepad.
There you go. So that's it, Jack. Basically, I haven't really done much more. It's kind of like I'm on a repair on the top of the saucer, but luckily I wasn't stupid enough to spray that spray go on the ship and get a coat of this spray. Because I'd have ended up with having to strip the bloody whole thing down, and I didn't want to do that. So I just tested it on the sauce a bit, and obviously, it's one of those things that happens. It's obviously reacted to the paint that's on there, and it's just bubbled up. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many years experience you've got. You get these things happen. You try your trial summit and it doesn't work, and you pay the consequence.
If you kind of rolled with the punches, you could have made it battle damage.
Yeah, but I didn't want to do that.
I know how you feel.
Jack, for a split second, I wasn't just going to think about battle damage. I was thinking of getting the model going.
Well, that's battle damage. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
one
but then I
thing.
thought,
Car builders don't care much for sci-fi builders, but we have a recourse that they don't. We can do battle damage. It wouldn't make any sense if they did it, but anyway, that we can make it junkers, but that wouldn't be the same.
I feel
result-
your pain, Jamie. I did something similar with the model I was working on. I got the decals, I got the camouflage, everything, and for some reason, well, all sense of reason just left my head, and I used an acrylic. It was actually Tamiya clear flat on enamel paint.
oh,
And, yeah, it would have been nice if crazy paving finish was your thing, like.
yeah. This thing looked like somebody had got those stippling guns.
Yeah.
It looked like somebody had hung the model that way, got a stippling gun, and gone. But the one thing that I wanted to achieve was the decal on the front. The idea was it was to put a layer on where it embedded the decal to make it look like a proper paint job.
Mm.
Yeah. What it actually did was disintegrated the fucking decal. So it's like there was hardly anything left of this bloody decal. It was like, well, yeah, it sort of embedded into the model there, and it's not there.
Mm.
But yeah, and then I tried to do a little bit of sanding to get the top layer off, and it was just having none of it. It really bubbled the paint right down to some of the base model part.
Mm.
So I covered the top. I took everything off I could, covered everything up with masking tape I could to protect it, and then I literally coated it with a paint remover. And I left it overnight, and it just literally peeled all the top off. It was basically back down to what the model was when you get it, which you've got to do. I often think if you get a repair job like that and it's that severe, you can't just sand it down and then just do a paint job on it, because you'll always have like bits of levels like this.
Yeah, you have to take it right down to the plastic.
Yeah, take it down to the plastic again, and then just give it pre-coat, and then do your top coat, and then do your final coat, and then just do your sanding and buffing and
nothing as large and as smooth as the Enterprise saucer hull, like, but yeah.
It is what it is, and this is why this is so great, because it's no good just coming on to Hangout like this, and there's people watching, and they watch it in the playback, and we're all sitting here thinking, yeah, I've done this excellent model, everything went perfect. It just doesn't happen in modelling. Things happen, and if they happen and you talk about it and you explain it, then hopefully other people won't make the same mistakes you've done. So it's just kind of like that. I just think, we all make mistakes. It happens. Get on with it. It pees you off, but it's part of modeling. I suppose in some ways it's the fun of modeling, isn't it? They send them to make it, So that's me, Jack. That's where I'm up to. That's where I'm pissed off to.
Very good. Yeah. Sometimes I think my mistake was getting into the hobby to begin with, but
I'd be a lot richer.
Now you would have spent that on women and booze.
Yeah.
Yeah. Win, can you?
yeah, you got half of that right. But anyway, moving on forward with stuff. Let's see. I wanted to share. Bob actually shared this. I can't remember if it was on last Hangout or Hangout or the 48-hour Hangout. I don't know. These Hangouts are starting to get blurred together. That means you need a vacation again. He brought up Lots of Models website right here. This is what it looks like, and I did take a peruse through it, and it so if in a Christmas holiday you want your special someone to buy you a Christmas gift and they just don't know what to buy you, just tell them go to this website. They did not pay me to say this. This is not an endorsement. This is just something that you all might want to look at. Really cool website. Lots of models. Yeah, that certainly is. And this almost got the figures, plastic kits, diorama accessories, tools, like paints and stuff. Well, this is all great stuff right here. Spraying mask. I don't know, Lou, if you want to see this, but they also have spraying masks too.
Not as good, I'm sure.
I'm sure. And without further ado, how you doing there, Lou?
I'm doing peachy keen, Jack. How y'all?
I got a question. Yeah, I'm fine. I got a question for you. I watched your video and most of your video, your latest. I always enjoy your videos before coming on the Hangout. And you wrote it as spaghetti. Anyone? Looks like angel hair pasta to me.
Aha!
And doesn't look too much of a devil's of a time doing it. You're doing such a good job.
Thank you. Here, if I can get the power.
Lou humor.
Flavor diet.
Trying to get the.
Oh, that's not very big. Oh, okay, that is big. All right, I thought that was the whole thing. There.
part. Trying to
that
get
is really
power
cool.
over to you. Stupidly short power lines here.
Is that Bandai one, Lou?
That is the Revell.
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Zvezda, the Russian one.
Yeah, the Revell version. That's just that much of it.
How much does that kit retail for then?
I do not know offhand.
You can get them for 70 and 80 pounds here, Jimmy.
About 70 or 80 pounds. What's that one that's like 700 quid?
It's about 120 bucks here. About 120 bucks.
You're thinking of the Bandai
Falcon.
Falcon.
Perfect grade Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's a lot.
No, they actually do. It's a massive one of those, and it's about 700 quid.
Oh, that's probably the resin one.
Yeah.
Ah, right.
Coopers.
Yeah, it's going to be around the Cooper's.
That thing is still big.
Yeah.
This one is about 24 inches, maybe 22 inches.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You got a lot of fiber optics going in there.
I do. That I do. That's the top part.
And despite the fiber diet, it'll be putting on some weight.
You bought stock, and you got these from the fiber optic store, correct?
No, I got these from a cheap place off of eBay. I bought 4 of those little, spray fountain things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just cut them up.
Like these here.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the model, right down to the base.
Blimey, Lou, that's a lot of time-consuming work there with them fiber optics.
It has put me off of the desire to ever do this again.
So you could count it as an educational experience.
Yes, that's it. That's it. It's sort of aversion therapy.
I did something on a much smaller scale. It only involved like about a dozen fibers.
Yeah.
And it was like herding cats.
Yeah, exactly. I wish William were here to see this because I remember what he was talking about on his.
Yeah.
And to get back to that other topic you were talking about a second ago, that is the cockpit on the perfect grade Millennium Falcon.
Wow.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah,
I thought that there was no. I mean, I built the fine molds 1/72nd scale Falcon. What's building another Falcon? There are no 2 parts that are the same on the fine molds and the perfect grade, even though it's the same scale. Supposedly the same scale. The perfect grade is about this much bigger. I mean, they're both supposed to be the same scale, but they're not the same size.
Huh. What it is, the Bandai one is based on the original New Hope,
right?
Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
and it comes with a book. Model. Here's the book for instructions. That's how thick it is. That's the thickness of the book of the instructions.
Jim could make another Millennium Falcon out of that, you know.
Yes. You could take the parts, and make another one. But it's huge. But
It's huge.
To me, it's a business investment because I need to make masks for the gun wells and for the cockpit. And hopefully, if I can sell enough, I can recoup the cost of the kit.
Nice clear windows on that. Man.
Yeah, Ken says Ken's on the live chat. He says he picked that kit up for $108, and I'm thinking $120. But yeah, it is. I also says he has a perfect grade from Bandai, the 72 scale one.
Yeah.
So I'm sure having two different manufacturers, you're not going to have the same exact parts. So.
But you would think it's it's like having two car models, two people making a model of the same car in the same scale, and having wildly different results. You would think it's a pretty standardized thing, but it's wildly different. And I thought, simple blowing up the 144 scale Bandai, even that isn't the same.
Right.
Even within the same manufacturer. Although if you've built, Jack, I know you've built the Bandai, it goes together very, very much the same. The parts are.
No, I haven't. Bandai is a curse word in my household.
I'm sorry. Which one were you lighting?
Fine bulbs.
Oh, okay. That's the fine bulbs. I thought you were doing was somebody else doing the 144 scale Falcon?
I was doing one, but that was the fine molds one again.
Oh, okay.
I do have the 144 Bandai one as well.
Right. Well, if you're familiar with how that goes together, this is pretty much parted out the same way, but with
I have a question.
a bajillion more parts.
Lou, I have a question for you. Does it look as good in real life as it does what you see on the pictures?
No. Because what is in the pictures is professionally painted, and the box is a bunch of clear parts.
No, I'm on about the actual detail on the kit itself.
The detail is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to ask you.
But in my opinion, I think it's overly complicated, more so than it needs to be. I think they, there's no reason for all the little pipes to be separate pieces. That's just part inflation to me.
That's Bandai.
That's how they get down. It's 1,000 pieces. It's like having a 1,000-piece puzzle versus a 50-piece puzzle. Just the picture's the same at the end.
Yeah, am I true in believing that it's got realistic battle damage that you can put onto it?
What's that?
It's got realistic battle damage that goes.
Well, yeah, it's like they say it's the New Hope version. So A, it has no headlights, and B, it's only got 3 landing gear, and C, it's a lot. It looks to be a lot rounder and taller.
Right.
Fatter.
You're talking about Bandai?
Yeah, the perfect grade. I think it's fatter and chunkier looking, and I think it's obviously all the changes that they made to it for Empire are not there, but I think it's interesting because it's the New Hope version.
Apparently the fine molds kits were made too thin, as it were, in vertical height.
Right.
Whereas the Bandai ones are chunkier, chunky monkeys.
Well, I would have. They said they exhaustively researched it off of the New Hope model, which I would have thought for sure they reworked for Empire. I didn't think that the New Hope model still existed. I thought when Empire came along, they went back to that model and did renovations to it.
Bandai had copies of Lucas's blueprint.
Right, but they also supposedly went to the archives and took pictures and measured and everything off of the. But I just didn't think that original model existed anymore. That filming model, I thought it was altered for Empire. Like they would have done for the Trek movies. They wouldn't have had a different enterprise for each movie. They would have gone back to the original, to the last one, and did upgrades.
Yeah, that will make it cheaper anyway.
Yeah.
One of the things Bandai did was they went over photographs of the original New Hope
Right. But they supposedly were able to like go to the actual New Hope model and trace things off and
Bandai actually put out a video on them designing that model.
Yeah.
You know, they got it so that they were able to hold the part up against the image of the original and match angles that way.
And they also were able to, since a lot of the kits, the Greeblies came from Bandai kits, they were actually able to go back to the original kits and scale those parts. It's a lot of research in it, and it's a heck of a thing. I just think it's overly complicated. But I'm sure it'll be pretty.
Yeah, Bandai are good at complicating things.
Yeah. Well, they want you, if this is the one model you're going to build this year, they want you to take the whole year to do it.
Yeah, it does seem like that sometimes. That's what they are wanting to do. Sometimes. And
then they put this really rinky-dink LED lighting system in it that any one of y'all could do better than.
You know something though, they have bottom lines that they gotta meet. I mean, if a model company went all out and put together a kit with accessories, etc.,
yeah,
are going to be paying thousands of dollars for it because that's what it'll end up being if they're going to make a profit. And
well, they knew this one was going to be a specialty kit. It's like putting out a Lexus and then putting an AM radio and an 8-track in it instead of a nice stereo.
Yeah,
you've already sunk the money into the Lexus. You want to have a nice stereo with it.
It's like when they were doing the snap together Star Trek line, the refit,
yes,
and Voyager and so on.
Right.
They had this incredible paintwork on them, but there were still some gaps were left, and the lighting was entirely incandescent bulbs. There were no LEDs in it whatsoever.
Right.
It still did the job, but would not be anywhere near as long lasting as an LED would be.
And there is no pretense that this is a mass market kit. This is a prestige kit. Hence the perfect grade title. I would think if it's truly perfect grade, they would have done a little bit better job with the lighting.
Is the lighting that bad, Lou?
Is it what?
Is the lighting that bad for it?
It's not bad. It's just very basic.
They haven't used perfect grade LEDs.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, they've got individual spot LEDs for the big engine at the back, and anybody would put a strip in there.
Yeah. Or do what Jack's doing, put individual bulbs all the way around.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't contract Jack to do that for all of their kit.
I suppose it's a step up that's actually LEDs here.
No, they're at the 1.8 mils.
Since this show's pretty much going to be about Star Wars because the movie is going to be released in just a couple of weeks on the 15th of December here in the U.S. So this is the current. This is Christopher Colvin and his work in progress on his Star Destroyer. He's talking about 400 feet of fiber optics. This is probably the Russian scaled one.
Yeah, I recognize the parts layout.
Right. And this is a community cover for the Facebook page, by the way. Fantastic work. And his photography on this is very conducive in showing off his work. So really good job, Christopher. Thank you for posting. And keep up the good work. We're looking forward to seeing it done for you. And then you're going to post it, and we're just going to stare at it. So, in very much the same way we stare at Dawn's workbench. So this is Christopher Colvin and his Star Destroyer. It is the community cover for the Facebook community.
Good show.
All right. Moving on forward, we're going to go Wolfman Phil. How you doing, Wolfman Phil?
Hello. Sorry, I had something on my. I'm all right. Well, I'm all right now, anyway.
You got back to your human self.
Yeah. To be honest, I couldn't keep it up. It was steaming up my glasses. Something rotten. So. Yeah. Had a great time at the 48-hour hangout. I know I wasn't on a massive amount, but
Too, my friend.
I decided for that I'd have a bash at A-Wing, which was the old NPC snap together one.
Yeah, I recognise that old
That's
face.
pretty much finished now. Yeah. The old base. Yeah, the ball's broken off the base, so it's just sort of rammed in there at the moment. So friction free. So yeah,
Most of mine are
so
fiction. I think they're going to work, but they don't.
Yeah. Do something about.
You couldn't find a 1/60th wheel pilot anywhere, yeah?
Supposed to be 1/60th scale as well. I had to look at the pilots in there, and I don't know. I think they got Java's piloting it or something. Or Ewoks. They're that small. The figures in there. There's no way they're scale. They're small scale in that. So I don't know what they did with them. So no, I didn't manage to find pilot figure for it. So yeah. I'll just show you this as well. Just about completed me X-Wing. Again, that's the AMT.
That is actually a good kit.
Love an X-Wing.
Especially for AMT.
Yeah. When you consider the age of the thing, it's it needs a few small corrections, but mostly.
I think that was the very first ever kit from Star Wars that came.
It was, yeah. It was probably from the first run. So it's a true vintage kit. Yeah. Modified RT that I did for it. See, that's all right. Is it focused?
Yeah.
Focused, does it?
Have you painted him grey?
R2Q2 because it's Biggs Dark Lighters Red 3.
Ah, right.
So hence he had to have the right R2 unit.
Yes, anything else would just be good.
Yes.
Nice idea, because everybody knows Red 5.
Yeah. It's difficult to find the markings for all the other ones. They're a bit thin. But I also received that in the post.
Ooh.
Yeah, the little Star Destroyer.
Together.
The most affordable.
14,400 scale.
Yeah, Phil, every time I see something that size, I have this vision of Land of the Giants keep coming into me, and there's little people on the bridge going, "Look, it's a finger!"
Somebody lit one of those, didn't they? I think.
Some say.
Mad Egypt managed to light one of those things with main fiber optics and tiny SMD LEDs for the engine.
Yeah.
Blimey. Somebody actually lit one of those up.
I think what they should have done is make one in clear, you know, like the Clear D.
Yeah.
Enterprise, and then stick one LED in it somewhere, or two LEDs, one for.
And scratch all the windows out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a good
Pick the
idea.
little windows out with the tip of a scalpel.
The tiniest little 0.3mm LED drill, just dab it on the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would save a lot of work if they do those Star Destroyers in the clear, wouldn't it?
Your next challenge, Phil, will be to scratch build an in-scale Super Star Destroyer.
What with that one?
The one that you not have to scratch build will be the bridge module.
Well, there are differences in that as well.
If I remember rightly, it was in that scale, it would be about 4 feet long.
Has anybody showed any interest in that 6-foot toss yet?
I'm looking for it on the Facebook community, but my computer's so slow. But I did request to join. I am interested in that.
Yeah, I mean,
I am absolutely interested in.
I think the guy's done an absolutely brilliant job on the pieces. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I think
the pictures he's wearing, they're really good, and I'd like to find those pictures. And somebody made the comment that said that if he had one of those on the kitchen counter, which is being photographed, he had one of those on his kitchen counter, his wife would beat him and divorce him. So,
yeah, I mean, it begs the question: where would you actually put it?
Oh no,
that's not the point. You worry about that like Lou does after the fact. You build a room after the fact, which incidentally, Lou, you're running out of room in that little room that you built yourself.
Well, it's the video is deceiving. There's still plenty of room back behind me. I have a tendency to pull tight in on the focus when I'm shooting, so there's still plenty of room.
Well, that's what you're saying now, but no, you're going to be out of room and by end of next year.
Yeah, no, I'm all for that, gentleman, selling as many of those enterprises as possible because I'm doing the markings for them.
Lou, do you know the piece is hollow, so you can light that model?
Yes.
Oh, they are going to be hollow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be like a huge round 2 kit, basically.
They would have to be hollow because if you could imagine solid resin pieces that size,
the weight would be horrendous.
It would implode and make its own black hole.
Can you imagine what size the motor the spinners have to be for that?
Yeah, yeah, they're about 1 inch around and maybe 2 inches long.
Blimey. Now, do you know if the spinners are going to be a complete piece like the round 2, or are they going to be like the safe? The
shapeways?
Yes.
I'm imagining they're going to be complete spheres.
Yeah, yeah.
Only because those are the easiest things to source.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. There's one more website I'd like to point out for the holidays and for you modelers. Again, this is not being paid. This is something that I visit. Bob was lots of models, and I visit this, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with this one. My Vallejo paints. Carry the full line of Vallejo paints here at Scale Hobbyist. They also sell kits, accessories, scenery, all kinds of stuff. This is also a pretty good site. This is where I would get my paints, and they're reasonable. And it makes, if you're buying Vallejo paints, to make it worthwhile to incorporate, they do have somewhat of a retail off price. If you were to go to like Hobby Lobby, which doesn't carry the full line, they have the Vallejo model paints, which is thicker. But here they also have the air paints, which you would put through your airbrush.
Mm-hmm.
And they carry the whole line, and Vallejo just keeps expanding their line of things. They've got some very interesting things for chipping, for weathering, for all kinds of things. And I have seen people use it across. Now, I would endorse Vallejo. I'm just a big, huge fan of Vallejo.
Jack, I found this at the hobby shop the other day. It's Vallejo plastic putty. I am looking forward to trying this out to see.
Oh, that's which the yeah. Where is it here? That's the ones I used.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
It actually works quite well once you let it dry. And then it'll come off. It'll all come off like in one piece. It'll peel right off. So
who wants it to peel off? Don't you want it to stay?
Oh. I was thinking the mask.
No, the plastic putty.
Oh, they're plastic putty.
Yeah,
Okay.
plastic putty. Yeah.
I don't use anybody else's stinking mask.
Is that
that's if you're a fan of Vallejo paints and product line, which is continually expanding. This is where I get them. And I think though, if you put an order together about $50, the shipping is of course extra, but it's well worth it because the prices they have are somewhat off. And if you buy it in that kind of quantities, $50. The shipping is well worth it. You come out being the same if it was straight retail.
Not very useful for somebody who lives in the UK, Jack.
What's that?
I said not very useful for somebody who lives in the UK.
Not all about you. Not all about you, James.
You guys have that goofy tax on it. You got to go to the post office and pick up your packages because they're going to tax you for it. That's bullshit. Yeah. Excuse the language, but that is.
You have to go.
You need to do a midnight run, go to Turkey, and bring it back.
You know what? You guys better. You know what? Hey, it worked here 200 years ago about taxes. I think it's time you have your own revolution against your taxes.
It's about time you kicked out that ancient system.
Exactly.
Look how well
you know they're going to tax the molecules you breathe.
Jack, why do you think we have one of our princes marrying an American?
Because he's marrying up.
Well, yeah. I mean,
think about it. If he came heir to the throne,
you know what? I gotta say, when it comes to the royal family in the U.S. news feeds, everything positive is being reported about the royals, particularly these two guys, William and Harry. Now, Harry's taken over because he's just got engaged and everything. And you know something? They got like zero bad qualities from their dad, I think. But everything good qualities that they have, they got from their mom. I hands down, these two guys are the sharpest guy, in my opinion, in my humble American opinion. These guys got it down. They're smart. They're just good guys. They're like the guy next door, as they would say here, like the girl next door, you know, the guy next door. And you know what? I think Merkel is the luckiest broad on the planet. I really do. I really do. So, and England is better for it. Thank you.
Yeah, we're pinching one of yours. We picked one of yours, Jack.
American royal.
We're going to make her a princess.
That makes up for all of your British actors that are taking over our superheroes.
Lou, we've got one up on you. We've took one of your American actresses and we're going to make her a princess.
No, one of our American actors is going to make an honest man out of the prince.
You got that right. He broke a rule in Vegas, so it didn't stay there. He broke that rule.
Yeah. Well, you know, kids will be kids.
Anyway, but you know something though, that Vegas fiasco, that just endeared him even better to the American guys because
it made him real.
It made him real. Yeah, it made him real. So moving on, I got to ask Randall, what is that blinking light behind you? It's making me really anxious.
Oh, it's Cylon, yeah.
It's actually a bicycle light. This here, yeah.
Yes.
It's a bicycle tail light that has this one of these
Larson circuit.
Yeah. Things, and I've just set it up there. I actually put it up there last Wednesday and left it switched on to see how long it would last.
No, you didn't, Randall. You put it on there now purposely. Somebody would have mentioned it because it was annoying us.
I've had this guy plugged into my computer for years.
Is that or this guy here?
Wait a minute.
I find myself sitting in front of him.
No, I was on at the light, Randall.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll find a way of fitting this thing into a Cylon model or kit.
It's quite cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then when you look at the Cylon, it's full of you.
Yeah, and it's small. It's only like about the whole thing's about that wide, but the board inside it is almost minuscule. So if I take it apart without actually breaking it, or rather breaking the circuit, it should be an easy fit into a kit car or a Cylon Raider, whatever kit. And it's cheap. It only cost me £1. The battery actually cost more.
Back in the day, we'd have killed and given our left arms for something like that.
Yeah, the battery actually costs more than the
cheaper to throw it away and buy a new one.
Yeah. Little 1.5 volt battery. Anyway, what was it I was going to say? I was going to talk about something. What was it? Just distracted. Oh yeah, I've been working on these two over the Hangout.
Yeah.
Both pretty much the same airplane, only and the same squadron, but different eras. This one was in used in the North Atlantic, and this one would have been used in the Indian Ocean and Southeast Asia, but as the aircraft carrier that was carrying them was steaming across the Indian Ocean to take part in the invasion of Japan, the Americans went and bombed the things with these atomic bombs. And
ruined all your fun, did we?
Ruined all our fun, yeah. Finished up, we had to throw these things over the side into the Indian Ocean to and use the aircraft carrier to collect prisoners of war, which I'm sure the prisoners of war didn't mind.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's that. I picked up this.
There's
the mini.
Yeah, the affordable New Hope Falcon.
The affordable.
These are cute when they're small.
I wonder how many of these or those Star Destroyers you can get for the price of their perfect grade Falcon.
Yeah.
Rob, well, how much does one of those run?
This one it cost me £10.
30. I would say 30 is a good round number.
Then for that Millennium Falcon.
And it is tiny, tiny, tiny.
Oh, that is tiny, isn't it? But again, it's still detailed very well.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it is. I mean,
Detailed.
they even have to, separate parts for these cutouts in the hull, and all the side panels replicated. They're not in this, of course. I'm actually kind of working out how I could maybe light the engine.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
that's what you call maximizing your intellectual property. Since you've got the file,
Yeah,
you spit it out in as many different sizes as you can.
and as I say, the detail is amazing in this thing for all the size.
Mm. Yeah, it is very detailed, isn't it?
Mm. And of course,
Yeah, it's decent. Yeah.
unfortunately, the cockpit is solid.
Did they give you a clear one?
Nope, no clear one. It's just a solid piece of plastic,
Yeah, that's a shame.
which I suppose makes it slightly easier to.
Send it to Jim. He can cast you a clear one.
Then I would have to build a cockpit to fit inside it.
And then you have mega small pieces of people to go inside that.
Yep, it works out at approximately 350 scale. Give or take 1 or 2 points either way.
God.
You put it next to your Enterprise.
Yeah, this is the. That's
There
the
you go,
engine.
Jack. Start drilling out all those holes.
Yeah, but if you see,
I did see someone put one of those
Randall,
little
that
Falcons.
size Millennium Falcon would look great attached to Lou's Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Too big.
Well,
It's too big.
yeah.
That's 350 scale. The Zvezda Star Destroyer is 2700.
Yeah.
Jamie, what he needs to do is attach it to the side of your Enterprise.
That's what I was about to say. Right on a nacelle there,
Yeah,
What I need to do is scratch build a Star Destroyer to the same scale.
yeah,
Yeah.
How many feet that
That'd
would
be a nice display for it.
cool, wouldn't it?
Or even
Just do a wall and have it stuck to it.
yeah, or even just scratch build the bridge module of the Star Destroyer.
Yeah. I mean, that guy did it, didn't he? He had that big to the Star Destroyer, and he's got the Millennium Falcon lit up underneath it, going along the surface. That was.
Well, I know Shapeways makes a Falcon scale with the Star Destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
And
the sidewall here.
Yeah.
It's scary to think that you can actually identify the kit parts even in something this small.
yeah. Oh, they got the dish all in one part.
Yep. And even though it's molded sideways, it's actually hollow.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a bit of envy there, Luke? Because yours in about 30 parts.
I think it would have been easier if they just given you a pile of nuts and bolts and have you build the damn thing.
Well, the D'Agostini route, yeah. Actually, that would be an interesting comparison to the price of the D'Agostini one. Ultimately, when you've got all
$100 to buy the Agostini one full kit.
Yeah, and then the Bandai is what, 600.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The Agostini is what scale is that?
Big.
It's the same scale as the Master Replicas.
I think
and that is about
43rd or something
well,
like that.
The people are this big, so
about 148.
It's about the same scale as the X-wing that I did. You know, the NPC one, which is about 142nd, 143rd.
Something like that, yeah.
So it's fractionally larger than 48 scale.
So that's about the size of the So it's twice as big as the fine molds and twice as big as the perfect grade.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 72nd and then half of that, it'd be 35th, wouldn't it? 36th.
Yeah.
So it's slightly smaller than.
It's big.
So.
Yeah. In containers, I've got to start mine yet.
Somebody needs to come out with a chart of all the different model Falcons and what size they are and how physically big they are.
Also, I came across this.
Aww.
The wee
NPC one.
The old ANT bridge module. The rest of it sitting somewhere in the other room drying because I had to wash it. It was covered in about 2 inches of dust.
Patina.
Yeah. Weathering. I suppose I could have done it as a Jakku.
Yes, exactly. Bury it in the sand. Bury it in the sand.
The tooling tools for models back then were very primitive, weren't they?
Oh, incredibly.
Well, it wasn't the tooling; it was the sculpting in the first place.
Yeah, there was that too. Yeah. I
mean, they weren't making 3D CAD models.
Nope. I mean, just look at the shield generators.
Yeah, the balls on it with no zip cut.
They were literally just balls sitting on a truncated cone.
Yeah, zip cut.
Just like a little ping pong ball.
Yeah.
On mine, I actually tried to file the geodetic structure into it.
Yeah. Anyway, this here I salvaged for a future project, which I can't actually really say anything about it until the final reveal. All I can say is that
Star Destroyer, aren't you?
I wish. in this scale, it would be. Let me think.
The room.
Yeah, I could build it in the room, but then I would have to demolish the house to get it moved anywhere else.
He's building a Death Star.
I would build it in the backyard and move into it. Put it in a trailer and drive around with it as like a caravan. And that's pretty much it. That's me. I have until the 13th to get these finished, and they're not far off put up on their feet, and a few final details. It's the small fiddly things that are taking their time, as usual. But no, hopefully it'll be ready for a competition that they'll be entered on the 13th. So I have 10 days to finish them. Or
10 days to finish them.
11 days. Sorry, not counting today.
Just ceiling. I can't find that the pictures of that 6 foot. It's just an amazing. When I saw that, I just like. I was just floored. I was just simply floored. Speaking of which I was equally floored on, was the Google community. Community cover. Let's see. It's not coming up. A seamless transition. There it is. This would be Dave. Diorama. This is the community cover for the Google Plus page. This is going to be a coffee table, or a part of it, anyhow. Dave, wow. It turned out better than I thought it would. When you proposed the idea of doing this, I thought, oh, you should do Dagobah. And you're like, oh, everybody does Dagobah. I'm going to do Hoth. Okay. I thought to myself, how plain can that be? Oh, wow, you didn't make it plain. This is awesome work. You did a really good job.
Thank you. And thank you for making the video as well.
Yeah, so you've also posted pictures of the coffee table as well and the like. So take us through it. Is it going to be in your house?
I don't know what I'm going to do with it because it's too heavy to move. I mean, genuinely, if I move the table, it's like a two-person job.
Wow.
That strikes me more as a hot cocoa build than a coffee table.
You can have an exclusive now because I literally finished it about an hour ago. Try and get it into frame, which will help.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, that is.
Is that it? Can you see that? Or...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the first.
Yeah. Is that better? So we've got the coasters on now as well. The glass case itself, it really brings it to life now.
Yeah, you had fun with the glass.
Yeah, well, that was a two-person job because there was no way that I was lifting that on my own. But yeah, finished, done. Yeah, I had to get my brother-in-law to come over today and give me a lift with it. But oh, I forgot one thing and all. There we go.
Blinky's on it too. Yeah, people. The droids are welding, and they're right in the foreground there.
I wouldn't trust the work by an Imperial droid, though.
No, he's being reprogrammed, Lou. He's all right now.
He's feeling better.
He's still, first time he goes, Roger, Roger, I'm slapping him in the face. Roger, Roger.
I don't know what you can make out.
If there are any clone troopers still around, don't let them see him.
Yeah.
But all the footprints in the snow, they all lead to individual characters. So you can trace somebody where they've been and
nice.
But yeah, finished.
finished with that. And here's a sneak peek of the table itself. There's a picture. And let's see. Gosh, lightning speed. I can't stand it.
So if it's made of wood,
yep,
we can build a
that
bridge.
actually looks like a picture frame.
Yeah, I just added the little supports on just for something to really screw into the base so it didn't move.
You know, with that idea, I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I posted pictures on the community of people doing N-scale train layouts and coffee tables. Some of them got really elaborate. Now, here it is, just giving you some idea as to the makeup of his table.
Yeah, well, with the weight of it, I was a bit worried that the legs wouldn't actually support the weight of the glass and the base together, so I had to reinforce the legs.
You got enough metal in there.
Industrial scale.
It has got a metal shaft in the center of the leg, but it wasn't really enough, I don't think, to really support the weight of it. So I put some L-shaped brackets on either side. But yeah, they're solid now anyway. They're not moving, which is good.
Right. So how long did it take you to do this?
6 months, I think. Maybe just under.
That's longer than you did Hazard County, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Hazard County, I think, was about 6 weeks.
Yeah. What made you think of doing a coffee table?
Just the size of it. I knew that I didn't want it straight on because I like a dynamic sort of pose to it because it just adds more to it. But making it square, I knew there was going to be a lot of empty space around it. So I sort of knew that it was going to be a big thing. But yeah, I think this is probably the only one I think that I've actually envisaged it beforehand, and it's gone right through to fruition. So yes, I'm very happy with it at the moment.
Very cool. They're like shorts. Heck, got on me right here. I'm starting to look like North Korea is lighting up the sky here. All right, good. Back in the dark again. That's the way I like it. Yeah, so that's the Hasbro X-Wing, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's got about, let me think back. I think there's about 3 circuit boards in it that's running everything. You've got the FX for the light effects for the cockpit, which is just random winky blinkies. And then you've got a sound board. And also there's another effects board for the power generator in the corner. So I've got about 2 voltage regulators running in it, and the rest of the system is just 9 volts. That's all the stationary lights. So, but yeah, it was quite tricky in the beginning.
Just want to acknowledge George came on. He's at work watching between customers. So everybody's saying hi to him right now. Hi, George. But yeah, I mean, that's 6 months. That's a long time to be with a build. And you did a lot of scratch building. You took panels out of the side. You built greebles underneath it. So the whole diorama story is about repairing the X-Wing before battle, I would guess. And yeah, you did an awesome job on it. And into a coffee table. Interesting choice. I'm not against it. I think that's awesome. But at the same time,
I always thought the coffee table would be.
You have room for it, though.
I always thought the coffee table idea was a great way of displaying a large model like that, like the Falcon, or
It's like when I get around to doing the Hasbro Falcon, that probably will be a coffee table too, because it's just so big that it's no good putting it on your dining room table, because if you got friends coming around, where are you going to put it?
You would use it as the table.
Well, yeah, you could. But yeah, well, I started it, and Liam sent me a link, and there's a company that started doing coffee tables, Star Wars themed. I thought, oh god, well, but no, it's been a lot of fun. It's been hard work, because literally the toy, I took it to my machine, and I just basically chopped the whole thing up. I've only really used the fuselage and the 2 wings. The rest of it's 3D printed. And of course, I had to use MDF and sandwich together a block so I could run wires through it to light up all the marker lights and so on. So yeah, it was a learning curve. But
interesting use of various things like Lego bricks for the ground lights and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, I wanted that sort of shape. And I can't remember if it was my wife or not who said, why don't you just use Lego? I thought, well, yeah, because I'd have to recreate that shape with styrene. I might as well just use Lego. So they turned into the ground lights. And I think even the power cable coming out of the ship into the power converter, that's a piece of Lego as well, off a figure, I think. So, yeah, it worked well.
Jack?
Yes?
If you look onto the Amazing Scale Models webpage now, I've posted up the 2 pictures that you're looking for about that new Enterprise.
And I just put a group chat. I just put a link to it.
Good. Good. Because my computer is so slow, and I've been spending the whole show looking for it. But not to take away from Dave. So Dave, next is going to be the Well, you're going to do you're doing a 16 scale General Lee.
Yeah.
And is that going to be a diorama too?
Yeah. What I decided to do was do the record jump over the creek.
They take up because it's space if you just make the model.
Yeah.
You're worried about needing a new room. I don't need a new room because I don't put dioramas.
But even the scale of this, it's going to have to be pretty big.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in this just jumping maybe 3 inches off the ground, because it'll look pathetic. So it's probably going to be around about 15, 16 inches high.
Where are you going to find the right scale of chicken?
I don't know. A good question. I don't know. There's that one. How's that?
A little bit.
Chicken there.
But yeah, I've got loads of that clear resin, so I can do like the creek water in the bottom and do all the sand and whatever. That'll probably turn into a big one. And then, of course, in January, I want to be starting on this one. But I do have my eye on that Enterprise. That would be just fantastic to work on that.
Yeah, can you imagine seeing that lit up though?
Yes, I can. I can imagine that. Yeah.
What size is the one in the Smithsonian?
11 foot.
Well, it's just far off that, is it?
Yeah, that's the full. That's the full Mac Daddy.
That's the original.
Yes, the one and only.
I was thinking of the 6 foot one. It's
half scale. It's half scale of that, and then the 350s are half scale of the 6 foot. That's how it's been working its way down.
But it looks like it'll be big enough you could actually build some rooms.
You could. You could.
Yeah, in the saucer section.
If your windows are clear enough.
Yeah.
And you make the hull thin enough. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. But I could definitely put some chickens in it, though.
Yes, you could put chickens in it.
Here you are, screen sharing it to give you an idea to scale on this thing. This is freaking enormous.
You could have quite a big shuttle bay in there, couldn't you?
So, Lou, you know more about this than any of us. Is there anything you can tell us about this kit that would be of interest or not?
It has the world's best markings for it.
Well, okay, I know you're making the markings. Yes.
No, that's really all I know about it. I've Dave contacted me about getting the obviously getting the pennants and stuff set up for it. But I've not seen anything firsthand. It looks like he's really got the pylon pocket problem figured out.
Does anybody know what this is going to retail at?
Yeah, it's about what, 4,500?
Yeah,
there it is, right here.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Plus shipping.
And your value-added tax.
God,
I don't think I can make this a gift for you, okay?
Okay,
you can screw this one up.
I tell you, you're talking in England. You're talking about £4,000 then for one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is at, if y'all are interested, www.modelermagic.com.
Yeah,
I think I just sit back and watch the really rich modelers put this one together.
Yeah.
And just dream of winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure. You know what? Looking at this, the finish on it makes it look. It's looking like styrene.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah, beautiful finish on it.
yeah.
I wonder what.
It looks like
It doesn't look like there's going to be any cleanup or anything like that. The parts look
Well,
very
that's the beauty of it. The whole thing looks like it's less number of pieces that are on the Bandai left mandible of the perfect grade Falcon. I mean,
the TOS 350 has less pieces as well. Like,
Yeah.
But, it's just the scale of it all.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's the kitchen photo. He must be single. Okay. Okay. That's that. Catching my breath.
It's like staring at porn.
I know.
$500. You know what?
I could stare at that ship for ever.
Can you imagine what size box that's going to be delivered to you?
Well, I would think it would be multiple boxes. I would hope.
Yeah.
I would hope.
it's in 2 boxes when it
One of the boxes doesn't go astray in transit.
Yeah. Do you think I could put that in a suitcase and I can take it over to the UK, huh? What do you think? No, I don't think that's going to either.
Fly it over.
Steamer trunk maybe, but suitcase, no.
I know anytime we ever went to the States, we went there with 2 cases and usually came back with 5.
Yeah.
Well, that's yeah. Well, your wife indulges you. That's good. But I think if you got one of these, I think she might have a problem with it.
Yeah.
It's huge. Yeah, I would say if I had it in this room, I think the only thing I would be able to do is hang it from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, get rid of the ceiling fan right there, and put up track lighting, and then.
You would have to find where the rafters are in the ceiling to bolt directly into them, because the regular plasterboard in the ceiling will never hold that up.
Wait.
But in our bathroom, we went to the roof. It's such a tiny bathroom. We just took the ceiling all the way up to the roof line, and we put a skylight in, and it's like huge. It feels huge. The bathroom feels huge now. Maybe that will make it feel huge here, but this is on the side. The roof is a gable roof. It has steep sides, and then it kind of like almost like a barn roof, kind of.
Can you imagine?
Anyway, What's
Jack,
that?
can you imagine what the serious professional building modelers are going to charge or something like one of them to be built?
Well,
You just brought up an interesting point. I'm sure there's going to be somebody saying, "Hey, Simon, how long are you going to be alive? I want to put you on my schedule. I want to schedule the build."
He did say he wasn't going to do small kits anymore.
That's not small.
No.
Yeah.
But you got to come and pick it up.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, but you got the DeBoer's refit. Now you've got this one. Very, very interesting builds. So I have to say that I am following suit with. Let me turn one of these out, or maybe both of them out. With Jim here, and zoom in just a wee bit. Wrong thing.
But you're not doing the fancy Lego route.
No, to show y'all that you can do foam board, and these are iterations of molds of the past week. This big thing here is just made too much silicone, and I'm going to save these because if I ever make a large mold of something, then I'll have like filler. I'll just kind of cut these down to little chunks and fill it in so that I don't use as much silicone. So that's always a possibility. So save on to these things, these bad molds. This was a good, but I didn't mix the resin well enough, and it broke a couple ridges inside it. And the reason why, it's too thick. And this is a very rigid silicone rubber. This is very difficult.
Tough to pop them out.
It's hard to pop them out, yeah. So here I got a mold that does work, and this is much more flexible. As you see, this would be easier to pop. This has already been popped out. I just popped it back in. But this would be much easier to bend and be able to pop out the cast. And this is the cast right here. Focus. It's not too bad, actually.
Very clean.
This the sun really came out with a vengeance. Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
How's that? Okay, good.
Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. This is this is going to be a cast I'm going to keep. I have a whole bunch of them. Where over there, and next to my speaker, I divided them. I made a lot of them out of the original cast, but you will run into problems of this. When they say equal parts, they mean equal parts. I mean literally
messing around
down to the molecule almost. Because here's a cast that's almost like rubbery.
Ah.
Yeah. So they certainly mean the parts, the two parts need to be pretty precise. And when they say when you're mixing it, scrape the sides, they mean that too, because there's residuals on the sides of your container.
Yeah.
I'm just using a little 2-ounce container like this to mix the resin. In fact, I made a new mold here that you're going to see live of taking it apart. And let's see, let me get this is foam core. Oh, geez, come on. Get to the center.
Camera's drifting. There you go.
Get to the center here. All right. Gee, look at that. Ah! All right, maybe we can live with that. Okay, good. Foam core. I made the box out of foam core, and I use hot glue to glue the corners together and to glue it down onto my little tile here, And I use a ceramic tile. You can go to Home Depot and pick these up for maybe 99 cents, if not less. So I'm taking a hobby knife and cutting without having it slip and cut my finger open.
Yeah, we don't want to see live blood.
Yeah, yes, seriously. I've already done that this year and gotten stitches. So here, just pulled it off, and this is the underside of the mold. And I'm thinking of maybe, and what I did was on the parts, I used the Tester's clear adhesive, and I glued it to the tile, let that set, and it did fine. It looks like it just did fine in keeping it in place. And now this, the mold just kind of pops out of the walls here, and of course you already seen this is a perfect depth because it's very flexible and parts fall out.
Beautiful. Did you cover the parts with any release before you?
This is a Lumilite brand. I think Jim is using the what are you using, Jim?
He's using the clear.
It's the craft the craft mold? Easy mold.
Yeah. Easy mold. This is a Lumilite, and the instruction says when it comes to parts and stuff, you could use the release, but it's not necessary.
I said it came out very clean.
Yes, it did. It wasn't very necessary. In fact, they gave me a release in this kit, and they said you use a release if you're doing a two-sided mold.
Ah, okay.
But, silicone would adhere to each other, no problem. If you put a release between them, between the layers, that's what it would be mostly used for. Gotcha. In my castings, I did it both ways, with mold release, using this mold and mold release. I brushed it in with a paintbrush, and I used it without. And there's no difference between them. The resin doesn't stick to this.
Beauty.
It'll take a long time to show you the resin, but there is one thing about this that I found that I didn't follow the instructions to the T. Because it is now, the weather is cooling off, they're recommending that you either microwave or heat up your silicone molds. They can take as much as 400 degrees. Not to suggest that that's what you need to do, but warm it up, maybe over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and then pour your resin in it. And this time, I'm going to try that with these this mold and the one that I just showed you. So they said heating up the molds will help the resin set faster and harder.
I can see that.
And as you saw the groupings of the cast that I've done so far, some turned out great, others didn't turn out so great, and I think it had to do with the warmth. And I did take this mold and I did hold it in my hands for a while to warm it up, and I casted one, and that's what I showed you just now. That's what came out. It came out just about perfect. So I think they got a point there. Maybe the molds need to be heated up to work. But you see, in these deep crevices, I was saying, Jim, you see those like around the squares? Those go down pretty deep, and the air bubbles like to hide in there.
Yeah.
So I get a piece of telephone wire and just kind of poke it in, swish it around a little bit down in there, and let the bubble release and get the bubbles to rise. And this particular kit, and they say that you do not need to get vacuuming for it. That part is correct. That part is most certainly correct. This particular kit, and I'll show you the cover of it momentarily, and I had no. If I did swirl it around, the resin around, I had no problems with air bubbles. But there are ones here that the air bubbles did stick to the side. Where's the one that shows really good? I'm going to end up using it because it's still a pretty good cast. It's solid. Oh, crapola, where is it? It's right here in front of me. Oh, maybe this will show. Good. Oh, there it is. See the air bubble?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you swirl it around once the resin is in there, because when the resin is like an amber, a translucent amber, and you can see the air bubbles rather nicely.
Do you have any sort of vibrating pad you could put that
That's a good
on?
idea. That's a good idea. They suggest that in the instructions to vibrate, and somebody has suggested your airbrush compressor to do the job.
Yeah.
I don't have anything like that. With this mold that you saw me open.
Yeah.
I did spend like 5 or 10 minutes taking my bad samples and just pounding on the tile.
I could think of a shop or two where you might find a vibrating device, but it's up to you.
Okay, I don't participate in that sort of thing like you do.
Maybe you could have a friend pick you up something.
Oh yeah, my neighbor, my school teacher neighbor, she might have something. Anyway, this is the kit I got from Hobby Lobby. This has everything: the resin, the rubber, and the activator, the release. And, they give you a couple of cups, 2-ounce cups with this, but I have a whole stack. I bought them a while ago. Very easy kit to work with, and as I suggested, that you don't really need for the silicone. You really don't need the vacuum chamber or anything of that nature, because this takes about 8 to 12 hours, depending on the thickness. If it's a thick mold, you'll probably need 12 hours.
Yeah.
But this cast that I took apart, I casted it about 9 o'clock last night, so it was almost 12 hours. It was 12 hours that you saw me take it apart. And the silicone has no problems with the air bubbles. The resin there you got to be careful with, though. Yeah. And I went to Hobby Lobby. This is like $70, $80, I think. But guess what? I got my 40% discount, so it turned out to be $41.
Very good.
And to give you a scale of having the resin and the rubber is only good for a year. This is part A or B, whichever it is. So these are pretty big bottles. You see, with all my mistakes, I haven't even started using a lot yet. So I could make a whole bunch of these now.
Make a whole bunch of more mistakes.
Oh yeah, of course. You can't expect. And I think Jim would tell you too. Even Jay would tell you too. You cast it, hope for the best, and if it doesn't work out, do it again.
Yeah.
And just be sure you're figuring out as to what the problem is, because the process is so precise. Like they said, it has to be exact. Scrape the sides when you're mixing it up, and follow those directions. You should be fine, and it's supposed to be spot on. And these cups do have like markings on the sides to help you out with that. Mm-hmm. So really, the process is not that difficult. It really isn't. But to get everything measured just right and following the directions, that seems to be the hard part. Following directions. Yeah, I'd encourage people to try that. Try that out. Gosh, the sunshine is just ridiculous. And I don't have an automatic adjusting camera, unfortunately. But I'm glad I followed Jim's lead on this. He made a few pointers early on that I followed. And I think sometimes, you can listen to as many people. Jamie was doing it. He basically asked everybody that he knew what they know. And he got to learn his way of doing things. So anyway, that's what I've been doing since actually from before the Hangout. I did my first mold during the Hangout. I organized my LED drawers. I'm sure all y'all are happy that I've done that. Organize my drawers.
God, I can sleep easy.
There's more organizing to do, but I just Jim has those containers, so it's a pretty good idea. But I have these drawers right there to store my little parts. So moving forward with this, I'm going to make as many good ones as I can. And because these are going to be, you know, the backs of them are going to be solid, unlike what comes with a kit, it's basically hollowed out. I was considering doing mold, but I don't think it's that important. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to light these things, and it could very well be fiber optic, 2mm fiber optics through these things, and then do a light box. I think that's where I'm coming to. I'm resisting as you well know, I was resisting the light box idea for a long time, but at least the LEDs will, I should say the fiber optic will at least be doing the effect that I want it to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So yeah, I got a lot of casting, a lot of molding to do, and a lot of experimentation to do, because I think I have enough 2mm fiber optic. I get mine from the fiber optic store. This is 5 feet. I did use some of it already, but not much. But I got to find my space heater, the one that destroyed my enterprises. The reason I say that is I take this out of it's just coiled, and gently heating fiber optic, and if you put a weight on the end and hold it up, and maybe even use a blow dryer, like a hair blow dryer might work. Heat it up slightly, and then it'll straighten out. That's what I need to do to this. Because if you're putting it through, it'll kind of curl like housewife fingernails. So, like claws. I don't want that one to stick straight out and able to pick up the light source in the light box as best as possible. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. And for tomorrow, we got to wrap this up because it's already been 2 hours. I think my other half is going to sit on my head if I don't get off of this, because we got to go over the house and do some more work. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Once we get rid of that, Jack is back. Jack is going to do a lot of stuff, and that tomorrow we're going to talk about electronics, as Jim was hinting to, and we'll talk more about the specific components, the ease, and different techniques of soldering and the like. So join us for the Sunday Hangout for some demonstration. I hope to be able to set up to the point where I can do that and show you my soldering technique and what I use to make boards and show you a finished product. And do an experimentation board to show you what that consists of, and all sorts of things. So everything electronics. And these things are not that difficult to do. If you want to do the breadboard that's solderless and leave it at that, hey, that works. In fact, you can do that and probably coat it with resin and, you know, make it a permanent circuit board. You won't have to solder. But if you are into soldering, we'll show you some of that too tomorrow. So join us for the Sunday Hangout tomorrow. And as I mentioned much earlier in the show, at the beginning, in fact, in 2 weeks, we're going to have the Across the Pond Hangout. And also the Sunday Hangout. That would be the 16th and 17th, and we'll break for the holidays. I have no plans for New Year's. Last year we had your Sunday Hangout on a Monday night, I believe, and it worked out fine. But talking to my usual suspects here, we realized that it's kind of off-center, and it's, you know, when it's New Year's here, or what is it, New Year's Eve here, it's New Year's Day where Heath is, and certainly, I miss Heath from today, but he's not here. But I don't think he would show up on New Year's Day. He probably has his own things going on, as much as everybody else is. So it's going to be like January 6th will be after the break. But in 2 weeks, we're going to reminisce. We're going to talk about the future of our scale modeling hobby and what we think we would like to see and what is going to happen. I'm going to do some looking into as what is going to happen for 2018. And also talk about the past. What were our favorite builds that are still around or not, and if it's within our memories, and some storytelling about our adventures in scale modeling, because certainly I have enough that involved even medical doctors. So anyway, until then, happy modeling, everyone. Jim, for joining us. Thank you, Jim, and see you tomorrow, of course. Amy, thank you for stopping by as well and sharing your trials and tribulations with that model. And Lou, always check out Lou's channel on YouTube for his videos. They're fun to watch. He does a whole week in like 20, 30 minutes usually. And Phil, thank you for stopping by. You're the wolf. We're going to call you Wolfman because you do have that look about you, you know. His alter ego. And thank you, Randall, for stopping by as well. And I'd like to thank Bob. He had to run off to work, and Dave and Dave's X-Wing build. Thank you, Dave, for stopping by as well. And I'd like to thank everybody in the community who participates and who actually sits back and watches. It's all about you guys. And of course, and everybody over at chat. George, Don showed up, James Kirk, Ken, Sean, well, Phil, Wayne even stopped by to say hello, the disembodied modeler. And so really, thank you all, and see you tomorrow. Happy modeling.
Good day.
Bye-bye.